Whether you like it or not, you are on the spectrum. The political spectrum. Let's talk about it. But before that, hi, Editor UI here. And before we start, let's talk about our sponsor, me. This is my very first video on this channel, so I'm not going to have anything. You can expect videos like these every now and then. I'm also going to cover maybe political news over the week or the month, depending on how things are going. I'm also working on my main channel where I'll be posting shorts and clips and such. I'm also editing some games, so I'll be posting them over the next few weeks. Other than that, I'll probably be over on streams. You can find me there, hang out with my friends, and probably be editing clips and video games that I post over on my main channel. Links are all in the description. Click on them, follow me, spread the poison. And back to your brain rot. When talking politics, no matter the era, one thing stays the same.
And Senator Clark of Pennsylvania, another articulate spokesman, defines liberalism as meeting the material needs of the masses through the full power of centralized government. Well, I, for one, resent it when a representative of the people refers to you and me, the free men and women of this country, as the masses. This is a term we haven't applied to ourselves in America.
The idea of unleashing a whole bunch of army, a conventional force army of IRS agents into everybody's kitchen. I mean, he's against most defense matters, and now he wants to get an army of IRS auditors going out there. I'm against it.
But he raised the question of my father and said, well, your father, Prescott Bush, was against McCarthy. You should be ashamed of yourself, McCarthyism.
The impulse to say a woman probably shouldn't be president comes more from the right than from the left in the brain. And it's an impulsive thing.
You know, people call me a socialist sometimes, but no, you got to meet real socialists. You'll have a sense of what a socialist is.
He aged 20 years. He's become a Palestinian, by the way. We call him our great Palestinian senator. But Chuck Schumer...
Conservatives, like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Ludwig, has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy.
General Milley calling Donald Trump a fascist. You yourself have not used that word to describe him. Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
We must defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. I use that term because you know what that term means, right? Communist. She's a Marxist, communist, fascist, socialist. She's not actually a socialist. She's gone past that. Remember I used to say, America will never be a socialist country. Actually, they skipped past socialism. They started at communism.
That. Labeling your opponent with a title connected to a political ideology that honestly most people have no idea what it is, like calling someone a commie, as in communist. But how many non-political regular people even know what communism is about, or where it came from, other than it is wrong and only our enemies use it? Politicians and those who indulge in politics use these terminologies as attacks to their ideological opponents, but for regular people it's just words with negative connotations. But despite the simplicity of everyday citizen in any country, they still land somewhere on political spectrum. That's kind of the whole point of the political spectrum. According to Britannica, political spectrum is a model for classifying political actors, parties, and ideologies along one or more axes that compare them. Now, there are complications and depth to this topic, like ideologies on 2D axes and 3D axes, but we are going to keep it simple and focus primarily on the left-right spectrum, specifically in the US. Let's start with simple left, right, center politics. Left being liberals, right being conservative, and center being a bit of both. Then there's the concept of far left and far right politics, meaning they are considered radicals even among their political allies. Their ideas are conceived as too extreme for the current society. But one has to wonder, are the two ends of the spectrum really equally radical? Now this is where political ideologies come in. What is political ideology? Basically, it means what you believe, how our society should function. Liberalism and conservatism are political ideologies, and those in the center are called moderates. There are a plethora of political ideologies out there, but again, we're going to keep it simple as possible and centered around US politics. Liberalism is basically belief in individual right to privacy and equality, and that government should work for the people to ensure such rights. Conservatism is more about maintaining the status quo and traditions, and that the government should never overreach their authority that interrupts the societal norms. Moderates are people who tend to distance themselves from both ideologies but lean towards one or the other. Now, culturally speaking, there are various stereotypes tied to each political ideology. And I don't mean liberals are frail and weak and conservatives are old and angry. No, I mean to focus on the misrepresentation of labels that people in politics tend to use.
Republicans call Biden infrastructure program socialism, and then they ask for the money. And it goes through all of Republicans, the most conservative Republicans, who call it socialism, and how they're asking for it. A guy named Paul Gosar, he's written 3 separate letters to the administration asking for projects in his district. He says it enhanced the quality of life, that ease congestion, boost the economy. Voted against it, says it's all socialism. Do I look like a radical socialist with a soft spot for rioters? Really?
We got Kamala Harris, pretty close to being a socialist if you look at what she's supported.
He's a Marxist. That's why he's been elected by the Democrats in the primary. Marxism is tied up with anti-Semitism.
Are we a people who are ambitious, who celebrate and embrace free enterprise and capitalism? I believe that's who we are. That's how we made America great the first time. Or are we the direction of a socialist version of a prior era of Europe?
Hosting Goran Mamdani for breakfast. Were you invited? I'd love to be. I'd really love to go. I mean, I look forward to meeting them both. I know them both very well through what I read and through what I see. Look, he's a communist. I don't think our country is ready for a communist, but we're going to see.
There are people calling liberals socialists, even though they don't believe in socialist ideals. There are conservatives that are being called Nazis, even though they believe in equal rights. They just don't want tedious regulations and fees. There are moderates calling themselves apolitical, but are straight up Nazis. The crazy thing about political spectrum is that it relies on the context of the subject, meaning it depends on what you're talking about. There are people who you would consider left liberal in all accounts, except putting high taxes on the rich. That means they are liberal but fiscally conservative. Which is funny because when you look at liberals in the US, they would be ranked as a conservative compared to the European nations. This is mostly because liberals in control of the Democratic Party right now really believe that capitalism is working as intended and tend to try and appeal to Republicans who are put off by Trump or even the far-right MAGA cult. Yes, they are effectively a cult. Prove me wrong. Then there's the opposite end, leftists or progressives or socialists, who believe that all basic needs should be universal. Believing that food, shelter, transportation, and education should be free and be done through progressive tax system, meaning low taxes on the lower income and higher taxes on the rich. Now before you cry why a millionaire has to pay so much, well, a millionaire doesn't have to worry about the rent and cost of food for the month. You do. And don't get me started on the bad faith operators who use half-truths and misinterpret stats to justify fallacies. These are people predominantly on the right and are paid off by dark money often, but so are the left, let's be honest. The right also has issue with the far-right figures that want the right to be, let's say, more fascisty. These are called groypers. I know a lot of people are learning about them as of late after the shooting of Charlie Kirk. The tone of politics changes over the years. What was once unacceptable is now acceptable and vice versa. Back in the day, if you were caught doing illegal things and found guilty of sexual misconduct, it would become national movement and you would learn it in history books. Or it would be in national news all over the media and you would be fired. Now we elect them presidents. Political spectrum is not a pin on the board. It's more like a heartbeat. Where does your heart beat in general? Are you a liberal but believe we should lower taxes on the rich? Are you a conservative but believe abortion is a medical right? Or are you a far-right lugnut but believe that rich should pay their fair share? Or are you an annoying leftist that just hates everyone even if they're on your side because you love the attention? I'm that leftist, you are not immune to my propaganda. Now you must have wondered at least once in your life, why do people think the way you believe is harmful to our society? Well, you think you're correct, but so does everybody else. You think other person on the opposite end is insane for believing what they believe, but they believe the exact same thing about you. And the most likely culprit is the weaponization of these political ideologies. Politicians using buzzwords and giving negative connotations to ideologies is what molds a lot of people's perspective on that ideology. I mean, there are people who would use socialists as a slur while their life-saving medicine can only be afforded by the socialist program. Granted, tides are slowly shifting. People are realizing maybe having universal medicine, food, and transportation might not be too bad. Republican politicians are literally afraid of doing any town halls because of the big BS bill that is going to defund the medical insurance for many poor people. There are some Republicans who, I guess, didn't get the memo and tried to spin the town hall, but got put on a grill by the Republican voters. There are also a matter of ICE raids that a lot of people are not happy with.
Trump was doing a great job of securing our border. Sex for a citizen and a non-citizen are different.
False, false, shame, shame.
The National Party has suggested members hold virtual town halls instead.
Already in 3 months, we got more emails than all of last year.
What does that tell you?
Do your job, Senator.
Yeah.
Yes. Obey the Supreme Court.
Are you going to bring that guy back from El Salvador? Why not?
And these are the people who want undocumented people out of the country. Also, the matter with supporting Israel is making many Democrats and Republicans collectively question if the current leadership even care about its people, let alone human life. Now, there are many people that don't want anything to do with politics, mostly because they don't want to be bombarded by either side, and then Thanksgiving dinner becomes a shouting match. There's also because they are too busy. People can't even show up to vote because it's not a national holiday, the lines are too big, and they're barely hanging in there. Then there are those who just don't know enough and don't want to be bothered by it. They tend to be more on the richer side. I know, what a luxury, huh? But honestly, now is the time to become involved. We need to normalize these conversations without dunking or destroying the other side. Everyone wants what's best for them, but it doesn't take much to think about others. We need to normalize talking about social programs that would help the poor, help the people with addictions, help people find homes, give food to the kids for free at schools. Talk about how terrible it is that the most reliable medical program in the US is GoFundMe. My personal goal is to talk about these issues in general, and especially in VTuber spaces, so we can have something more to talk about other than Google Docs.